Hello, welcome back. I don't know what camera to look at. It's this one here.
Yeah, the one dead ahead, right in front of you.
Upgraded, got an iPad, like a proper podcaster. And back with another episode. I guess before we start, just will say thanks for the people getting on board with the YouTube. I think slow and steady progress is that one. We're going to build it up over time. Shout out the 4 Patreons. We see you.
Come on.
Yeah, I should have wrote their names down.
I've got them in the document.
We'll shout them out. We'll shout them out at some point.
Maybe
They'll get their shout out.
But yeah, we need more people to hop on board so we can bring you more quality content like this. But anyway, that's not what it's about today. We've got a guest in the studio again. Psh, that's the confetti cannons going off. Edits and that. Yeah, I mean, you've seen from the title of the episode who it is. We've got Mr. Alex Particle in the studio.
Yeah.
Woo.
How are you?
Really?
Good. How are you guys?
Yeah, good, man.
Yeah, good.
Bit of technical problems at the start. Up and down them stairs a few times, but we're all good. Came up from Brighton, right?
Yeah.
How's that move been for you?
I love it, really.
And what was the thing that made you move out of it? It was Homerton you were in, wasn't it, before?
Yeah. My girlfriend got a new job down there, so that was part of it. And then also lived in London for 10 years. So it just got to the point where it was just like, this is it now. Like,
Enough's enough.
Enough's enough. I'll probably come back one day when I've got a bit more money. No, maybe not to Homerton.
Homerton's kind of lit though now, man. I'm not gonna lie. I was there literally last night. Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
When I was last operating around there, it was about 10 years ago. So yeah.
Yeah, no, then it was just the hood at that point. But
you saw Skrillex in the pub as well.
yeah, that was.
Why do you just keep bumping into Skrillex? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Right. What happened?
So a pub, it's the pub in Clapton. What's it called? Crooked Billet.
Crooked Billet, yeah.
Yeah. So
we had a roasted there, was it?
It wasn't even that. It was on a Friday.
Okay.
Literally just went to me and a couple of friends, walked out the beer garden. He's just there, like with any nondescript East-looking London man. Like it could have been anyone. Like I don't know who the guy was with. He probably another DJ, but yeah, he also just looks like he kind of fits in though. You can tell he hangs out in London a lot.
It's definitely the turtleneck.
Yeah, he just looks more and more East every time I see him. I think wasn't he in like Stratford or something I don't know. He told me
he was staying in Forest Gate because Jay bumped into him like 3 times.
Yeah.
Skrillex.
Yeah.
All right, fair. Not LA. I thought it was LA.
Nah, he just loves London now. So
who doesn't?
Yeah, that was the pub.
Alex doesn't.
No, I do love London. I do love London, but Brighton's nice, especially in summer.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Especially in summer.
Whereabouts in Brighton are you? You down like
We're
on the coast?
super central.
Oh, nice.
Like,
Funny story.
yeah, this is pretty.
But you
bad,
know where he
actually.
lives, Jack, because the stag do.
Oh my god,
Do you
yeah!
remember?
Oh my god,
Yeah,
yeah!
yeah.
We were literally like partying like round the corner from
So
your
John was
apartment.
like, "Yo, I'm in Brighton. Drop the pin. Like, oh, our gaff that we're staying in's here. Like, if you're about." I opened my phone and I thought it was like glitched out or something, so it was just on me.
That's so mad.
And then he sent a picture from outside the window, and I was like, the picture he took was of my flat. Yeah.
Stalker
So
John.
I could look out and see them like opposite mine. It's pretty mad. But yeah, that pretty central.
Yeah, I literally slap bang in the middle.
But Brighton's pretty small.
Yeah.
Like, you can walk everywhere in half an hour, so everywhere's kind of central.
And it's just bare windy.
I like it for that.
Yeah.
It's quite nice.
No, it's nice. Got a good crew down there as well.
And to ask the question that, someone on a deeper, more kind of like introspective podcast would ask, like, have you felt it affect your creativity since you've moved?
No, not really.
Okay. Good answer. Good answer.
No.
And when when was it you moved? It was a while back now, wasn't it?
It was September or August, like end of summer. So I caught like the last few weeks of being on the beach.
And the album was still being written at that point.
Yeah.
And how was that like? It's a different environment, didn't kind of change
It was
anything?
that, to be honest, that was the good thing. When I
Yeah.
got down there, I was like super motivated, so I
Yeah.
could just smash it out. It's kind of like, because I had all the moving stuff to deal with as well. Like when I finally like got the studio set up, it was like, right, I can actually crack on with it now. So
Yeah, you're like chomping.
So yeah,
at the bit.
I guess that bit did affect me in a good way. Yeah.
Good. And yeah, I guess we will come on to the album, of course. It's a big part of the reason you're here. I mean, firstly, congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are you in that come down phase yet? Like post album come down?
Not really, but it only dropped.
In 2 days.
It's been it came out literally less than a week ago.
Yeah,
as
yeah.
we're recording.
Yeah.
So yeah, not really.
Okay.
Yeah, not yet.
That's good. And kind of like, have you had time to like kind of, I don't know, like gather your thoughts and like, kind of form an opinion of how you feel about it now it's done, or is it still just too close?
Too soon, I think. Yeah. I've only really just started writing again as well.
Okay. Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
you said you really just. I suppose when
that's pretty on it.
Yeah. When did you like? When was the writing done?
Pretty early on, but then we had to do a last minute change of one of the tracks.
Yeah.
But I had like a good month
Okay.
before the album where I just sort of stopped writing.
Yeah.
But I had a remix to do, which is why I've started again. So I've not been like writing. It's like
That's quite.
but it's quite nice.
Yeah, that's like the perfect way. I
Yeah.
think after a big project to get back into the whole writing project. Like remixes are kind of. I know some people find them hard, but when you've already got stems and like an idea already there to work with, I feel like it's a bit of a shortcut, isn't it?
Yeah. I either find it really easy or really hard.
Yeah.
Because like if you don't get the idea down, you're just like, oh my god, I'm not gonna be able to do this remix.
Yeah.
That kind of makes sense. I guess also if it's like the magnitude of the tune kind of like affects you.
Yeah.
If it's like a tune that you're like really like fond of, there's an added pressure there, right? If it's like for a producer that you also have like maybe like friends with or care about, you've effectively got their baby and they're asking you to like take it somewhere dangerous.
No,
It's like,
it is.
protect this baby, but you've got to like walk across this rickety bridge while you do it.
Some tunes are hard to remix as well. Because like a lot of good tunes, they're good because of the groove of them.
Yeah.
So when you start rearranging shit, it's just like, I'm just making this worse.
Yeah. I feel like every time we've done a remix, like we've done like 9 different versions of the remix, and then like, we'll go back to like version 5, realizing that was actually the peak of it. But did you choose the song? Or were you giving it?
I was giving it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel I think the choosing the song and like you said with the artist being a big one or if it's a friend or whatever, that adds extra pressure. Sometimes when it's a bit like a random request, it's actually a bit easier because you make decisions a bit more like
and also if you don't know the tune, if it's something you're not too familiar with, I feel like you've got more carte blanche to kind of do what you want in it. Like, but the more familiar, the more bait, the more obsessed you are with the original, the harder that's going to be to remix in it.
Were you talking about like a personal experience with like a remix? Then I feel like
just like it sounds kind of raw, but it's sometimes easier to remix a tune you don't care about. Like not don't care about, but like there's less attachment to the tune.
Like
when someone asks you to do a remix, be like pick whatever song you want and you pick your favorite song. That's when you're like, I'm gonna ruin this.
Like
song.
24/7. Is that why I've still not heard of like even a version 1 of this, even though there's like 5 different versions of this?
Lovers tiff here. So short story, like I said to Jack like maybe like 2 years ago, like let me remix 24/7, like song off their first Shogun album, wasn't it? Yeah. And he sent me the stems and we just haven't done it yet. I love that song.
Did you not have an idea for it?
No. I just wanted to like have a go at remix it. And the thing is, we've done a few versions of it, none of them are good. Like parts of one are good, parts of another one are good. I think it's just one day you just sit down the remix and it just works. I think one session, like you just need that session where it just happens. So I'm not gonna.
I've had it before with remixes though, where I've like done a few versions and it's just not worked. And we've been like, look, like it's just not working. Like, sort of go our separate ways, sort of thing.
I'm sure like the person that you're doing that to has probably been in that situation themselves, so it's probably relatively amicable, I'd imagine. If someone's getting nasty about that, they're the one with the issue, really.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather someone said that than just give me a terrible remix back. Like and then you have to lie and say it's good and be like,
you literally said a minute ago, like, I'd rather do that than some tune I don't give a shit about.
I'd rather if I was someone's remixing my tune, I'd rather them be like, you know what, I can't nail it. Then just give me a version back and me have to lie and say it's good. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So before we talk about the album, I kind of want to. So what we tend to do with our guests is like get a bit of background, understand the whole musical journey. You know the spiel. Yeah. And actually, I mean, we were talking yesterday, and I said don't tell me because I want to talk about it today about kind of what you used to do before drum and bass. And so let's go back to like the very very start. Like, how long have you been making music for now? That long?
About 9 years.
Okay.
9 years. I'd say,
Yeah. And what was the kind of entry point? What got you into? What made you want to start making tunes?
It was just my mate had Ableton, and I think we were at like pre-drinks or something, and he was just fucking about with it. But I already had virtual DJ by that point because I just loved like going out. So I'd make like mixes on virtual DJ for my car because my car only had a CD player. So I could like mix tunes and then put it on a CD, and I'd be like, oh, here's like a new jump up mix for the car. So then when he was on Ableton, I was just like, oh, that looks sick. And I was just instantly like into it.
Yeah.
So it was pretty it just sort of happened, I guess.
And is this friend a producer now, or is he?
No, he was never really a producer. He just.
It's weird. Like, I feel like that's quite common, man.
Yeah.
Like, same thing. Like when I first got into DJ and production, same thing. The friend who got me into it is like a business owner now. Like, nothing to do with music at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mad, that, isn't it?
Smart.
Yeah.
He's got money.
To be fair, he's smashing it. Yeah, he is actually. To be fair, yeah, he's smashing it.
Tricked you into getting in.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll let John be the guinea pig and see if it's actually worthwhile.
John's smart. He's in competition in the business world. John, you should do music.
Yeah.
He's like flying.
Get him hooked now, and it won't be a problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so after that, was it drum and bass you started making first, or was it? What was
I tried to. But it's so hard making drum and bass. Because I was into it for so long, I like knew kind of what sounds good and stuff, but I just couldn't get it to the level. So then I started making like kind of UK funky garage, bit of like bass line, kind of like what's popping off now, like the speed garagey thing, like super like merged with different subgenres, that sort of stuff. And then just started making drum and bass again.
Nice. And what was the alias when you were making speed garage?
It was a rhythm, like rhythm with 2 R's with an A, like a rhythm.
A rhythm.
Yeah.
Not the worst one I've heard, to be fair.
I hated it.
Yeah.
Which is when I had to choose a name from now, I was like, I just want a like dictionary word that people still get it wrong. Like, it's mad, like some of the spellings I see.
How do people spell it?
The common ones like Partical, like CAL.
Okay. Because they must be thinking, surely he's put like a little spin on the spelling.
Yeah, classic drum and bass. Like, it's got to have a Z or an X in there.
Or no vowels.
Yeah. All caps.
That's a bit more of a dated thing, though, isn't it? I think like back in the day, people used to like sort of like mess about with the lettering a bit more, whereas now I think it is it's more acceptable just to be clean cut and just be a word. Like,
you know what that makes me think of? Have you ever seen, Igloo Ghost, yeah?
Yeah, I saw that tweet. Yeah.
He did a tweet, maybe it must have been like 4 years ago, but it like went super viral. I'll like put it on the screen or something. But basically he tweeted like, I love drum and bass, but like every producer's got a name like Meth Lab, or like basically he nailed it. Like he put all these like stupid names of like things spelled differently with Z's and K's and that, and he basically nailed it. And then it triggered like most of the drum and bass world though. Like,
I think I even replied to that at the time.
Yeah. I replied being like, he's cooked me, because we were called like, obviously our name's a bit like that, so it's like.
But it's the same in that scene. They've all got names that are like Esky influence, and I was like, your name's Igloo Ghost.
Yeah, which is just 2 words put together.
Yeah.
Cool. So the birth of Particle. What was the? I'm trying to think the first tune I remember.
It was Seb from Skank and Bass.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Someone put a clip of one of my tunes on SoundCloud, and then he just hit me up like, "What's going on with this tune?" And at the time I was gassed. I was like, sick. Yeah. So then I did a single with Seb, and then I had one release on Tyke's label. And then after that, Kazra hit me up, which was like mental. Yeah,
so you like were pretty young in the game when one of the biggest labels really tapped you up.
But obviously I've been producing by that point for like 5 years.
Okay.
So even though it was like, it seemed pretty quick, I was like, I have been producing for a while.
And like looking back as well, do you feel like you would have done anything different if you did it again now?
Oh mate, when I listen to all my old tunes, I wish I could just wipe my Spotify.
Yeah, I mean like, it's an interesting one that as well, because our highest streaming tune is a tune that's like 6 years old and I hate it. Yeah. But it's like at the same time, I don't know, it's weird with old music, isn't it? Because it's like you, obviously now you're a better producer than you were back then. So you always think, obviously if I wrote that now, I'd do it like 20 times better. But I guess at the time you were like, this is good.
Yeah, mine's more stylistically though.
Okay.
Because when I first came through, it was like the massive foghorn era. So a lot of my tunes were like leaning into that a bit.
Yeah.
But then, like, people still come up to me in smoking areas, like, why didn't you play that tune? So
and hold up on their phone with the
so like,
inside.
So you can't really complain because, like, they're your fans, and if they like that stuff, then they like that stuff.
I mean, Ez, her favourite song. It's a prime example. So, Hospitality on the Beach last year, I was bumped into Alex and Esme, and Alex was like, Esme's been playing this song, a GLXY song, and I was like, oh, what song is it? And it literally was that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she loves it, yeah. She's always disappointed whenever I say I don't like it. It's so bad. Yeah, I'm just like, I'll never play that song out, man.
Does it always creep into your Spotify like top?
It's number one still.
Yeah,
we can't get it off number one.
I get stuff like that, and I'm just like, I wish I would just leave.
Yeah, like if Spotify gave you the option to like control your, like curate your own top 10 or whatever,
you should be able to.
You should be able to.
Yeah.
I mean, all the Jats would just say 10 million, 10 million, 10 million, so it makes no difference.
Why do I keep getting put on
I
the
just
spot?
see it.
Got in there early, didn't
Can
you?
I just
Got in
sit
there
behind
early.
the computer screen?
You shouldn't be doing so well. Right?
Yeah, just stop being so successful.
Yeah, how dare you?
As Johnny said, it's always the guy that's smashing it that gets the stick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's
Exactly.
fair. That's
For
fair.
you,
I'll
Jack.
take that.
So yeah, I guess Casper hits you up. What's that conversation like? Where is it? Like, what are you feeling at that point?
I think he just hit me up for tunes to play out, and then I sent him a bunch, and he was like, "Are these signed?" Just classic, really.
Yeah.
And then there was like a couple of them, and I wrote a couple more, and I did a binary on Critical, which is their like introducing thing.
Yeah.
I remember that. Such
And
a
then-
good EP.
And then it was like, "Cool, do you wanna do a proper EP?" And then just sort of went from there.
Yeah, and because Critical don't do like exclusive deals today, it's just more of like you release
No.
with us and you're like part.
They
of
brought
the
me in
crew.
for like a meeting and was like, "Do you want to work with us?" sort of thing, and yeah, just sort of gentleman's agreement thing. But I've loved working with them.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
'Cause you've been there for what now? That's like 4 or 5 years now, right?
yeah. Well, it would have been like 5 years because it's pretty much straight away.
Yeah. And how's the kind of I guess the growth? Have you felt? Have you like? Obviously, you can tell you're becoming a better producer. But what's that process been like? Has it been like heavily driven by just yourself, or like has Kaz and the team helped you out a lot? And yeah,
A bit of everything. Like, it's so natural the way we work. We're still like, I'll just make tunes, we'll play it out, and then if one starts popping off, it's like, cool, that's the next single. We've never really had to really plan anything. Obviously, albums a bit different, but single-wise, we've always just worked like that. Just, cool, I think this is the next single. We'll play it out for a bit. Yeah, let's go with that one. And
I've actually not heard that approach before. Kind of like let the
Crowd decide.
they almost let the crowd decide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't either. That's sick.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I mean, I think more and more people are doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, me and Harry, that's the approach we've taken. Just as we were talking about it before we started recording, you know, like playing dub clips and teasing your stuff and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
We're sat there being like, well, we haven't got dub clips for the upcoming single, but we've got lots of clips of other tunes we're working on. Maybe that will dictate what the next single actually should be.
The only thing about that is, you know, when people post that 1, 2, 3, or 5, 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah,
5
I think,
thing,
yeah, that shit. I'm sorry.
you're gonna release 4, 5 anyway. Like,
Yeah.
why are you pretending like the most amount of comments is gonna? Yeah.
No, that's not always true though. I don't. When we've done it, we've put things in there that we're genuinely unsure of.
Yeah.
And like, it's key. There's one in particular that again hasn't got a title, so it's kind of hard to talk about. But it's one that I didn't think many people would care about, and then seeing the comments and like High Contrast said, "Oh, that's my favourite one out of the 4," and I was like, sick, reassuring that, like, because you sit there and sometimes we all know, sit there and you write a tune and go, I really like this, but I don't know whether anybody else is going to give a flying fuck about it.
Question is, should that matter? Well, actually,
No.
for you, it should matter. I suppose.
It shouldn't so
matter for
much,
you.
should it? But
Yeah.
it's easier said than done, though, isn't it?
Of course.
The live
funny
environment
one-
one's cool though, man. I like that because it's kind of a surefire way
Yeah.
to know that it's going to do well
Yeah.
because that's your demographic at the end of the day, and that's the environment.
And you're giving them what they want, what they've asked for.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Also, I'd hate the idea of like, cool, next single ready to go, and then you play it for the first time and it just sounds whack. Because then you'd be like, oh, great, that's my next single.
Yeah.
Like, the next 4 months of my life.
That's basically
Yeah.
how we work, man. We're like the other way around. Like, not as in every tune we play sounds whack, as in like we're much more like we write things to completion, and then we'll, I guess, not all the time, but like a lot of the time we've already written it, by the time we like it, and then we'll just play it and hope that it lands.
Yeah, it's different with like bits that aren't super clubby though.
Yeah.
Because if you're happy with the song and like the way it listens, then stuff like that you can just put out because if you think it will do well, then it's obviously a good song.
Yeah.
But when it's just like a deep roll or like a stinker, like if it doesn't work in a club, that's its only purpose. So.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true. And I guess that kind of, that style choice that you made, because I guess you were saying you let into the Foghorn thing. At what point did it go from that to kind of, I would describe your style as like, it's minimal in the actual sense of the word, that you're kind of like a less is more guy. And we've got a few questions and things about that later. But kind of when did that change happen from, like the hot sound at the time to like what you're doing now? And was that like a conscious thing as well?
I don't think it was a conscious thing. I think just when you first start, you just almost replicate the tunes of like the people you like.
Mm-hmm.
So I just like, at the time I loved Benny and like Breakage. So I was just basically just like making like Benny and Breakage like dream collabby sort of sound things. But then as you obviously produce more, it's like you find your own groove, and so I think that's it really.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still elements I'll use that I've always used, and yeah, but I guess you just mature, like your sound matures.
Yeah, it's just like a real natural progression.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. And then I guess that almost brings us up to like, the decision to make an album. Because I guess at that point you've probably done what, like 2 or 3 EPs on Critical with a few singles and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it just got to the point where Kaz was like, do you want to do one? Because you've just been putting out singles for like 3 years now.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, why not?
Was that always your intention, do you think?
I probably would have, if I'd planned it, I would have left it later, but I'd also gone full-time in music just before as well, so it was kind of like, well, I can't just sit here doing nothing. Like, I've got to actually like put some work in, so that definitely drove it.
It's nice that he had like, it's reassuring that he had that much faith in like, you putting out an album in a market that, we've regularly said is not really an album like centric market right now. I think that's really like smart on his part, and kind of like a testament to, how much you're obviously valued by the label. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Critical are quite good with albums. I feel like they do quite a lot.
Yeah, I think they've always maintained like a pivotal role as delivering albums in drum and bass. I think they're one of those labels that they've got a good roster of artists, and they are always like not keen to push people like to do them too soon or too early. But like you said, you would have sat there and maybe waited a little bit longer to do one. But I think everyone can always be a bit hesitant with their first album. But like make hay while the sun shines, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw your I think it was maybe with UKF you did an interview.
Yeah.
And there was a quote about how your approach to writing the album was less about like, how a lot of people, and we did it for sure, like say, oh, this is the story of the album and it's got like a theme and all this stuff, and you kind of sacked that off and was like, I'm not really doing that. Like, maybe just talk a bit about that and kind of your approach to writing that. Yeah.
Well, I just sort of, at the start of the process, I was like thinking of like, oh, is this album saying anything? But it just wasn't. I was just like, I'm not going to sit and make up a reason and be like, oh, this album's about like a journey of like Liquid to like Dance Floor, and I was just like, it's just my tunes. Yeah. Because I've never really planned anything that way, and it's gone all right so far. So
yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people actually write albums like that, but feel like they have to put this story of like, there's a really deep and meaningful story about it. Ultimately, man, like, it's dance music, isn't it? So you're not always going to have that.
Yeah. An album can just be a collection of really good tunes. It can just be a really good body of work. I guess have to have this like free-flowing thing through it.
The link is stylistic, you're right. That's the link between the tunes.
Yeah,
right?
It's like they all sound like my tunes. Yeah. Like, there's no songs on there that I didn't think really sounded like me. Sometimes you make a tune and you're like, oh, it doesn't really sound like me.
Sounds like someone else.
Yeah. So I'm really happy that they all sound like super like me, and went really heavy on the branding for it and did an album launch. So that's the stuff that kind of tied it together rather than some made up story. Yeah,
so the branding and like pyro and the artwork, kind of like the hazardous artwork, was that like, where did that come from? Was that just
that was winged as well.
Nice.
I literally didn't have a title for the album when we'd finished it, and it was just like, oh, I've got to choose a name for it, and I just chose that because I thought it would work visually. Yeah, the title tune as well, which was definitely one of the kind of big dubs or whatever that was like about. Yeah, that kind of worked because then that's the one that started doing well. So I was like, oh, thank God, like, because imagine the one that you choose for the title track just flops. Yeah.
That's so jokes. The album launch was cool. I really enjoyed that. I came down, me and Oscar came down, quite a few heads came down, which was nice. Nice to see people coming down.
Yeah, it's cool.
How'd you feel that went? Happy with it?
Really good. I mean, you guys have spoken before about like smaller shows and stuff, so scene definitely leads more of it at the moment, especially. So it was just nice. Yeah, as you say, like, it's nice seeing like other producers and stuff there. It's not just rammed with people that follow like drum and bass on Instagram. It's actually really headsy people there. Cool spot as well.
Yeah, Toller's.
Yeah.
Have you been?
No.
Wicked little venue.
Yeah, they did my own cocktail.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Nice. What was that?
They were like, "Do you want to do a cocktail? We do like a spicy margarita if you want."
Bang.
And we'll call it like Pyro, and it was cool.
That's fine.
Really good cocktails as well.
Yeah, we should shout them out, man, because like we want these venues to do well. But yeah, Toller Peckham. If you get a chance to go to an event
it's
down there.
down in Peckham.
Yeah.
I've heard of this venue.
Yeah.
I've heard a
Yeah.
lot of good things about this venue.
Yeah, it's got like a little function one in it. Like, it's a good setup, man.
Yeah, sounds good. I think it's like 230 cap. We should at free entry on a Wednesday.
Is it new? Or did it used to be called something else?
Pretty
Like,
new,
what's the story behind
I
it?
feel like it's got new owners. Yeah, I think
Okay.
the space has been there for a while, but definitely Toller as a like brand or whatever
Yeah.
is new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fairly easy to get to. Like Peckham's the one place like from North London that's hard to get to, but it was calm.
Don't you mean everywhere south of the river is hard to get to?
Nah, man, Victoria line.
Nah,
You can get the
Victoria Line's
overground
bang.
to Peckham, to Queen's Road Peckham, I'm pretty sure as well.
Yeah, from
I'm
didn't
not
know
sure
this.
it's High Street.
I didn't know this. That would have been really good to know.
Yeah.
Because me and Oscar got like 3 trains to get there. But yeah, nah, I really enjoyed that, man. You had who's this? You had Kaz, Jazz, and Envy, who features on the album, right?
Yeah, and then had Verbs and Mantmast.
Yeah.
Down.
Sick.
Yeah.
So with the collabs, that was again, was that just more of a like an organic thing? Was that conscious choice?
Again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm sensing a.
Yeah, well, some of them,
yeah.
like the JV track, it was like, oh, this is the song for the album, and
Yeah.
it needs this sort of vocal. The Envy one's an old tune, like we made that a while ago, but people kept asking about it. So it's like I think it's good to have a few of them on an album.
Yeah.
Where it's like people have been kind of waiting a while for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really refreshing to hear this like no nonsense approach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not trying to take away. It just sounds so casual, and I love this because it is really.
Yeah.
Because everybody usually paints this light that writing an album is like the most daunting, stressful thing in the
Well,
world.
he didn't say it was- he didn't say it
I
wasn't.
never,
Yeah, I
said,
didn't- I
I
didn't
never
say
said
it
it.
was
I never said it was stress free. Never said it was stress free. But yeah, no, it feels like your approach to it and your decision to do it like feels very just relaxed and just like natural, which I rate that. I really rate that. It's refreshing to
Thank
hear.
you.
I think albums, you can put a lot of pressure on yourself, and it sounds like, I don't know, correct us if we're wrong, but it sounds like you're like maybe not doing that, which I think is important really for a creative process. I think sometimes if you get in that album mode and you're like, you know, oh my God, it's my album. I definitely probably came to points in mine when I was like, I've been waiting 25 years to do this, you know.
I've heard
You're
you
like,
say that a few
yeah,
times.
100%. And it's like, you build up to this point that it's like, it's just like panic, you know,
Yeah.
whereas you're just sitting there going, yeah, like it seemed pretty like chilling, which is good.
Yeah. Yeah, but then the negative side of that is when it came to close to the time, I was like, shit, should I put a bit more thought into it?
That's the creative curse, isn't it? You're gonna second guess yourself no matter what direction you go.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really like this. The people we've spoken about it before, but the way people consume albums has definitely changed. So actually, yeah, like you can spend like I've told the story before, but like, we spent so long making sure that the tunes go from one to the next as if it was like a continuous play.
Yeah.
But then when someone has a shuffle,
No one cares.
When someone has a shuffle
Yeah.
on Spotify, it breaks all of that. So it's
It's
like
not even that, mate. It's just who consumes a whole project. It's most people just pick one thing and whack it on a playlist.
Yeah.
That's
Right,
what
one, 'cause
you were saying.
9 times out of 10, they're finding it in a playlist as well, aren't they?
yeah.
On mine, I have like the same. I mean, no one will notice this, but I've got the same vinyl crackle sample at the same dB on every track.
Okay,
So that
nice.
was my kind of like glue.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's
subtle,
really
though,
cool.
isn't it?
Any other little Easter eggs in the album?
No.
That was it. The vinyl.
Yeah,
Let
that's
one-
it. Yeah.
Fair.
One
Yeah.
and done.
Yeah, no.
I also had the idea of like putting them all in Ableton and having them like transition. but
Yeah.
By the time I finished them, I was just like,
Bro,
I'm
it's-
happy. I'm happy it's done.
It's
Yeah.
so long because the thing is we did that, and then obviously on Spotify you can change your settings of like how long the songs fade into each other
Gapless,
for.
yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever you do, for most people, it's not going to work. So
Yeah.
if we did another album, I would sack all of that stuff off basically. And I guess now that you've done the first one, how do you feel? Do you feel like this is something you're going to do more regularly, or like kind of you've done it now, it doesn't need to happen again?
Definitely won't be thinking about it for a while. But that's a nice thing now, I guess, because I've done one. Like, I think when it comes to, I mean, you guys have done more than one.
Yeah.
So it's like, I guess the second one's a bit less of a thought process. But not less of a thought process, a bit less daunting.
Yeah, it was. Less daunting is definitely the right phrase to use there. I would say it becomes more challenging, but like in a healthy way. Like we looked at it and went, right, well, now we've done it once, so we've got to do some things differently to kind of keep ourselves interested in the idea of doing another album, because it takes a long time out of your schedule, doesn't it? So yeah, I think it was more just the personal pressure of like, how do we do something a bit different and bring something a bit different to the table? But yeah, daunting.
You two pattern the album.
Yeah.
Let's face it, on some next level.
It's an addiction.
Right. I'm fully here for it. I mean, you know I am. Like,
well, I mean, you guys, every single person in this room has now written an album, haven't they? Released an album. Yeah. So you guys must appreciate that you'll write some things and you're like, this is such a fucking vibe, but if I put this out as a single, no one's going to care. But it can live on an album. Creatively, it fits there.
I think this is why albums are actually good now.
Yeah.
I think we spoke about it with Micah, didn't we? Like, same thing. Like, you can just be a bit more experimental and like do things that, this pressure of like creating singles all the time, I think, is one that kind of dictates what you write a little bit as a dance music artist. So yeah, that's what the album's quite nice, because you can just be like, I'm just gonna make a 130 tune with like no drums on it, or whatever it is. Like, yeah.
I think from like a lyrical perspective, with like what I do, it suits the album format because it's like just very like longly drawn out, waffly anyway. So it's like
anyone there is there.
You literally are telling a story.
Quite literally.
Actual words, yeah. But it's like when you were saying about like dropping tunes in a rave and stuff, in my head, as you're saying that, I'm thinking I would just never release anything if I needed to get a crowd reaction in order to be like, oh, that's worthy of a release. It's like my tunes aren't really designed to be that. They're definitely more album like.
I guess part of it is also the producer side of it for you as well, though, right?
Yeah.
So if you had like, just to pick a name out of the hat, like, well, if Alex made you a tune and it's clubby,
it would be a hurter.
Then it would be a club tune.
We have got to do it.
There you go.
It's just collecting dust.
So there you go. So that would go off in a rave. But then if you got me or like Etherwood or LSB to make a tune, it's going to be cry wanky. So
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's not club environment tune.
Yeah, I guess the album, that's kind of where it's, from a vocalist perspective, it's fun because you do get to do all those different things.
Yeah.
I think the ones that are a bit more clubby, one of them was like so stripped back, it was like basically nothing. And then the other one was like full on club waffle. And it was just probably a bit too much for a dance. But yeah, I guess you live, you learn.
What would you say your favourite part of the whole process was?
Finishing it.
Yeah. Very, I probably should have seen that covered.
No, probably like the initial process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I've always loved like branding, and I'm not one of those guys that's just like, oh, I've made the tune, I don't care about the art. Like, I really enjoy working with the artist. Half the time I do my own art, but for the album I wanted someone else to do it, so I enjoy that side of it.
Who did do the artwork?
This guy called Kia. Big up Kia.
Shout out Kia from Shogun.
Funnily enough, weirdly, when Badger, label manager at Critical, hit him up, he was like, oh yeah, I'm well aware of Critical. I was working on a collab with someone for Critical at some point, but I have no idea about that, so I don't know whether he has an alias or.
So this guy does, as in he was working on the collab as a producer.
I don't know.
So this guy doesn't normally do drum and bass artwork, but it's something that you knew personally, or?
No, it's just some guy I followed on Instagram.
Nice.
Yeah, but there's a connection there somewhere.
That's nice. And what was your least favourite part?
Probably just like the grueling part of finishing all the tunes. Because I write so quickly, like initially, like the initial skeleton. But then it's just going in and like doing the progression and finishing it, which I find hard. Yeah. Especially once I've bounced it and I've been playing it for a while, because then I'm attached to how that sounds. Yeah. So when someone's like, oh, I think that bit could do with a bit more progression and maybe change that pad, for example, I'm like, but that's the tune.
How heavy is like the A&R from like Critical?
You don't really have it. I mean, not in a bad way, in a good way.
No, like, rate it, yeah, 100.
But like so when I had like the sort of a pot of tunes, me and Kaz went into a studio and went through the tunes, and yeah, we're both kind of picking it apart, doing like lists and stuff. So yeah, we sort of worked like that, and then so I left that session knowing the 10 tunes. at least to finish. So
that's pretty refreshing again, because I think one thing that I found more frustrating than anything was just too many cooks having an opinion on a tune that didn't need like 4 or 5 opinions.
Yeah.
Like realistically, I don't, you know, someone who runs a label that does that can probably correct me and say, well, they know better than me. Fine, but for me personally, like I think you just want 1 or 2 key people giving you feedback, because I'm sure you had peer feedback as well.
Yeah.
As a producer, you send it to people that inspire you, who are now your mates. It's like there's a feedback loop already created. So like by the time you get it to the A&R point, for then someone to be like, oh, this, and it's like you've already kind of done half the work. It's like, why are we even doing this?
There's nothing more important, in my opinion, than the peer review.
Yeah.
Prior to the A&R chat.
Yeah.
Because when you sit down with the A&R team and they're like, oh, I'm not sure about this bit. And you go, well, this man all love that bit. And then they're like, oh, okay, we'll shut our mouths then.
That
sometimes really help. Like,
you're on it, Jack. Rate it.
We've got the techers, mate. We've got the techers.
Yeah, rate that.
Yeah, I don't really mind the technical A&R, because I'm not the most technical.
Yeah.
So if someone's like, oh, I don't think the kick's right, I'm like, that stuff I'm happy with. But it's more like vibe stuff.
Yeah.
Like you write your tune and that's your vibe. And so if someone's not feeling it, it's like, well, I'd rather just write another tune rather than change the vibe. But yeah, I think me and Kaz will have quite a similar taste in music as well, even outside of drum and bass. So
Yeah, I was going to come on to that. Actually, that's going to be the next question. So would you say there were external forces and influences on this album other than just like club stuff? Like, was there other sounds or artists that you're like, this guy's kind of, well, obviously not consciously, but maybe subconsciously, you're like incorporating things?
Not really. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend.
That you saw a painting and that's what inspired your album.
Exactly.
No, I like that.
Just my general inspirations, I guess.
Yeah.
Like burial-esque pads, as I said, like breakage, like drums. Yeah, just I've been trying to listen to less like music and stuff. I know that sounds weird, but it's so easy to take inspiration from other people, especially drum and bass. So now I just never listen to it, except like if people are sending me tunes, I listen to them. But yeah,
I think that's not that weird. I think that's for me. Like I've said it before, lyrically, like I have to avoid like certain people that I like am really really fond of, like DRS or Jest and shit, because I'll just be like, I'm just doing, you know, subconsciously. You end up like
B-Tech
writing.
Jest.
Pardon?
B-Tech Jest.
Basically, which isn't the worst thing as well. But
it takes away like the character from your own music.
100%. I avoid, anytime I'm lyric writing, I don't listen to anything lyrical. It's like, nah, can't do it. Just like try and just keep it like ambient, or like if it's D&B, it will just be like rollers.
Yeah, it's quite good though, because when I was in the like writing process, a few really good albums came out in that period. So like I think the Over Mono album came out, the Cass is Dead album came out. So there's a few cool like albums. So there's like more inspiration about like the album atmosphere, if you know what I mean. Not like
vibe of
not
an
music wise, but just like, just like I guess I would sell an album as well, because as you said, it's hard. So it was like, and also seeing that people were fucking with albums at the moment. So yeah.
So what would you say because I mean, we probably talk about hip hop more than we talk about drum and bass, to be fair. What's your what's your current, like, if there is something you kind of fall back on to listen to, what is that at the moment?
Guilty pleasure is Drake.
Yeah, we speak about Drake. Yeah. We talk about Drake.
The culture vulture.
Yeah, and I mean, this is where Rich checks out, because he's like, he's too whiny.
That voice I hate.
But my Spotify's like a car crash. If you looked at it, you'd be like, why is that next to that? Literally a mix of everything. Everything from like, it would go like Drake, Pot of Paper, Cass is Dead, to like super like obscure breaks tracks, to like the Oscar turn like, and like Panorama Bar like catalogue, literally everything.
Bro, I didn't even know those last two. You just said 2 words I'd never heard in my life before at the end. So.
Like the Berkine label, basically.
Okay.
So yeah, literally everything.
Nice.
Cass is wicked.
He won a
Brit,
didn't he?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Best album, was it?
Turned up with Deadcore, didn't he?
Yeah. Sick.
Guy's a joker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of, actually, it was funny actually you were talking about techno, because we did actually have a question. Maybe we'll come to the segment questions afterwards. Just to like touch on just the last bit about Critical. I feel like maybe Critical and Shogun are fairly similar in terms of, well, age for a start. I think Critical's 20, it's over 20 years now, isn't it?
No.
They've done their 20 years.
15, wasn't it?
They're 15 most recently, I think.
Nah, it was 20
ago.
for sure, because they had the XX artwork.
Yeah, it was 20 years
Oh my God,
when
yeah,
we did the Printwork show.
Yeah.
Is that
there you
20,
go.
was it?
Yeah, it was.
Older than Shogun?
Yeah.
That's actually mad.
That is crazy. I thought it was the
Yeah.
other way around.
Yeah.
So did I. Sorry, Kaz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Critical Crew.
And obviously they've kind of gone through generations of artists, I guess. This is where I'm trying to draw the similarity to Shogun. Obviously, Shogun had the Golden Age, which we'll talk about a lot, because we're post-Golden Age, which is fine. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like Critical's also managed to kind of regenerate itself quite well. View, Envy, a few other artists after, like, you know, a few people have left. And yeah, I don't know, what's it like? Is there like a bit of a, it feels like there's a bit of a crew feeling
Community
at Critical.
Yeah, definitely. Especially because like we've done like New Zealand tours and stuff together.
Yeah.
Last year especially, we did so many shows. Like there's a period in like Q4, it was like every weekend for like 2 months. So it's just like, yeah, you guys probably know, like if you do a string of shows over like a few months with certain
Same
producers,
people.
you just end up like in a group chat, like sending tunes. And yeah, yes, there is.
Nice.
But it's quite an intimate label.
Yeah.
It's just Kazra, Badger and Meg that run it.
Which really puts into perspective how well they've like done. Like,
Yeah.
Fully.
like literally, you know, they like broke the glass ceiling. I know you don't really talk about it. It's not really about awards, and I don't really want to go down that route. But like, there was that year that like they split the hospital Rams scenario,
Yeah.
weren't it? And it was like, I think they're like the only person to do that. And it was like that year you could see the progression, and then it was like, you know, bang, like it just went to another level, I think. And then
Agreed,
obviously
man.
Born on Road and everything's like followed on from that.
Yeah.
I think Critical led the way with being like, there isn't just two major independent labels in drum and bass that
Yeah.
are bossing it. They sort of like came in and went, nah, fuck you.
Yeah.
And then since then it's just, you know, anyone's game.
And
now, really.
985
That's it,
have
yeah.
coming as well since as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess there was this kind of transition because, like, I don't know what started it. Was it Neurofunk to call it? Like, there was a period in, like, maybe 2015, 2016 where Critical really hit, like, the kind of big time, because that style was so big, and it was more like Mephius and, like, E9. And,
Yeah.
like, they were it was, I guess it was Neuro.
Yeah, like E-Night's still huge in Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I guess that sound for them has also transitioned a little bit more. I hate the whole subgenre thing, but I guess you call it more minimal now.
Yeah.
I guess
definitely.
You've definitely been a big part of that.
Yeah. Which is why the Printwork show was crazy. The
Yeah.
fact that they sold that out.
Yeah, what was that like playing that?
I think it was one of my favourite ever shows.
Yeah.
I mean, because having normally with like big room clubs like that is super dance floory.
Yeah.
But knowing that we sold that out and it was just like deep tunes all night was mental.
Yeah.
Like the crowd was amazing. I mean, obviously with a club like Printworks, it will sell itself a bit, and you'll have like a quarter of the crowd that are just there to say
Just
that
looking
they're
confused.
to say that they're at Printworks, basically.
Yeah.
But like the crowd was really good. Yeah, one of my favourite ever shows, definitely.
What was that like playing sort of with all your boys and like with your little community and stuff?
It was
like,
mad. It was just like, yeah, us all backstage at Printworks being like, we're doing a sold out Printworks.
That's crazy.
We didn't really have a headliner. I think like Breakage Back to Back Skeptical was a special guest, and this might be wrong, but I think Mephius closed. But like we didn't, like Hazra didn't book a big name to sell it.
Yeah.
Just had
It was just the crew, like,
Nice.
which is why it was sick.
consistent
Yeah.
lineup.
Yeah,
Yeah, sick.
yeah,
Need more of that.
Yeah, I think very few people, very few labels, very few sort of crews in drum and bass can say that. Can be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
just off the back of a really good label with good tunes, good vibes, and consistency, we're selling out Printworks. So it's quite mad.
I think the key is like how often you do it. So like once a year is quite a good number. So obviously, like Shogun have done, not as big obviously, but that Out and Them. We've got a big one coming this year. And then 985 did Roundhouse.
Yeah.
And sold that out.
Yeah.
I think it is possible, but it's only a few select labels that have cultivated enough of a following, of like a dedicated following that can do it. Not any label could do that.
It's like cult following, really.
Yeah.
Kind of, I think at that point when you're talking about doing that show, I think Critical had a really big cult following.
Yeah.
You just knew what you were getting. It was going to be, quality D&B.
Everything's got to like come together perfectly as well, like especially with the lineup, because if like a couple of the core artists are busy on that day and can't do it, then it's just like, shit, this could fall apart now. But yeah, it was sick.
Shouts Kazra and Badger.
Yeah, man, and Meg as well.
Meg,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout to the crew.
So you actually worked for another label for a bit, didn't you?
Yeah, I worked for V.
V, yeah. And what was your involvement there? Was it label management? Is it distribution?
I was doing the marketing.
Okay, sick.
For 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned a lot doing that.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, it feels like maybe that kind of bled its way over into like Particle, like the album and everything that's done now, right?
Yeah, I learned a lot like about being on the label side when you're an artist. So like, I guess learning about expectations of what a label actually does, and because I was the guy pitching for Spotify and trying to get people on playlists. So like, if you're a new artist and you don't really understand how that works, you just think like, oh, like you're not doing your job, I'm not on playlists, but it's hard. But no one really has the magic button unless you're on a major. So
yeah. And what is that process like? And yeah, in terms of chances of getting things on playlists, like what? Yeah, if you've got any insight into that, I'm sure people would love to hear.
I don't really.
Yeah.
Even after doing it for that many years, it's still a bit of a mystery.
Just like a bit hit and miss, like random.
Yeah, super random.
And kind of with that experience, would you say you would think about doing something yourself, like label wise, or is that not really?
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, possibly. Especially because I love doing the artwork and stuff. So I feel like I'd have the resources to do it. It's just, but that'll be way in the future, I think.
Yeah.
Because, it'll be a bit of a ballsy move, starting your own label so young as well, and expensive.
Yeah.
I'm sure Kaz is very happy to hear that. yeah, don't worry. He asked me to ask that question, and it's like, just make sure he's staying at Critical for a bit longer. All right, let's do some. So we did ask what's our crew called? Amen Brethren.
Oh yeah.
Just remembered that. I've not used that in a while. For some questions, we've got a few. Some are physics related.
What?
Particle, isn't it?
Oh right, yes.
Come on, bro. You're not supposed to win 2 days, I thought.
Yeah, no, I know. That's why my brain's all scattered. What's going on?
The adjustment.
Fair.
Yeah, man.
So the first question actually comes from a friend of all of ours, Chesco, who said, what's your take on the less is more philosophy? And I think there's more to the question about kind of that's what he tries to do as well, but he'd be interested to hear another producer talk about it and kind of why that's your kind of, your approach.
I don't know, really. My take on it in what way?
Like, I guess the thing with like, so from my perspective, is like with music production, like, and the amount of plugins and samples and like all the features that Ableton or whatever DAW adds every year, like there's so much scope to do so much in like writing music. Like we've all been there where we've written a tune. It's just like you've added so much because like you found so many good sounds, but ultimately if you strip back off it, it sounds better. I guess that would be my translation of that.
Yeah.
And I guess just doing more with fewer sounds. I think that's a key part of your sound, right? That's a key part of Particle.
I think it's also been like past releases, the ones that do well are the ones that take, I mean, everyone has it, they take half an hour to write.
Yeah.
And there's only 5 elements. So now I find if I'm really struggling with a tune and I'm looking at the channels and there's like 50 channels, I'm like, something's kind of gone wrong here. Because unless it's a super technical track, there shouldn't really be this many elements at play.
Yeah.
So it's like, 1, you're overcomplicating it, or 2, you're like covering up mistakes by like layering and doing way too much. So like if the pad's not right, just change the pad. You can add another pad, but if you want, but I think nailing the key elements. And
I think people miss that point actually quite a lot. That sound selection is actually like 90% of making music.
Yeah.
Like choosing the right sounds. I think a lot of people think like with mix techniques you can fix things, but what's the old saying? You can't polish a turd.
Yeah.
And that basically is it, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess
also laziness.
Yeah, also laziness. But also I just think, if you kind of know what sounds you're going for and you pick the right sounds, then actually that's half the job done, right?
Yeah. And the longer you work on a tune, kind of the worse it gets to after a certain point. So it's like if you've got very minimal elements and you can get it done quick and you've still got the raw vibe of it. Because like we've all been there, like if you're working something for ages, you over mix it and you lose the soul and the groove gets too like perfect. So you kind of lose that. So when there's less to work with, you can get the vibe done like way sooner.
Yeah.
So you don't run into that. Yeah.
It's interesting how you talk about that because I kind of just get the sense that kind of philosophy runs through a lot of what you do.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Which is good to know. So I'm going to ask these physics questions. What do you think of quarks? And what do you think of plonks?
I have no idea.
If you had to guess what a quark was, what would you say it was?
Like a duck?
A duck.
a rude boy duck. Oh no, posh duck.
I think sadly I know what a quark actually is. Well, not sadly. I think
here he is. He's
I studied chemistry, so
is it
I thought you said a physics question.
It's a subparticle, so like, and it's a thing that makes up an atom. So obviously, an atom's like the smallest matter,
protons and electrons and all that.
Yeah, so like it's what makes up those. Like it's a subparticle, and I'm guessing the plonk is the same thing. Although it's Carl that asked that. You might have made that up, to be honest. Quarks is definitely real. Plonks I've never heard of.
He might be having your leg, mate.
Yeah, he might be a plonk himself.
Sorry to disappoint, but there's nothing science related about the reason I chose the names.
Yeah, you should have called yourself particle.
Yeah. With a K.
Yeah, with a K. Cool with a K.
Oh, my days.
Jude was asking, why did you name D&B song Business Techno?
I think it was like when the meme was going around, like the business techno, like Twitter meme. And I wrote that tune on a plane in New Zealand and I just needed a name for it and I just sort of wrote it as a joke. But then it just sort of like... Casual was like, it's quite funny, the name. Let's just keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a feeling it was an inside joke. Yeah. And there's that Instagram page, Business Techno.
Yeah. So it was like just when that started blowing up. And it was, it just started off as a joke, but we just kept it.
Fair.
Yeah.
It's a banger. We've got one we're currently umming and ahhing about whether we should change the name or not. Because the tune's called Koki Sound Guy. But like,
funny name for the win.
This is what I'm saying.
I think I know which sound guy we're talking about as well, right?
There's been a few. But it is named after a night. Actually, can I bait the night?
You can bait the venue.
It was
you
a show
definitely bait the venue or the brand.
It was in Nottingham.
Okay, you might have.
The sound guy just literally wasn't interested in the sound. He was just backstage doing what he was doing, and things were just going wrong. And we're like, bro, can you like fix it, please? Like, yeah. So we have a tune named after him, dedicated to him. So that's that.
Yeah, funny name for the win. Keep it.
I think we keep it. Yeah. Escher, not Blocks and Escher. We did this before. There's another guy called Escher who follows us, who's based in Australia, I think. Was asking what's been an unexpected career highlight. So I guess Primworks sounded like one of the career highlights, but I guess you would have seen that one coming. Unexpected ones, maybe like DJs who you wouldn't have expected to play your tunes or play the tune, or like weird places your music have ended up in, or whatever it can be, man.
I can't really think of one off the top of my head. Unexpected. No. Sorry, I don't really have an answer for that.
That's all good. We'll come back to that one if you think of something.
Yeah, I'll try and think of one.
And then a guy called Alex, who's not your burner account, hopefully, said, did you know Fall Too Fast would be an instant banger whilst making it?
No. The vocal's kind of there as a placeholder vocal. And then never got another vocalist to do it. And then, it just started popping off. Because I wrote it during lockdown, so I couldn't really play it out. I think I played it at one of those like sitting down raves.
Oh man!
So it's kind of hard to tell the vibe of it.
No one's moving.
I bet people were moving, but they're just like obviously the top half of their body.
Little seat shuffle.
Yeah. No, I didn't know. But I kind of did though, because it was one of the tunes that I wrote really quick.
Yeah.
I was like, there's something right about it, because I wouldn't have been able to finish it that quick.
Yeah.
It wasn't good.
Have you ever written a tune that's been like a labour of love that's also turned out sick? Or was it always you just know by the vibe if it's just done quickly?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah.
Because I just wouldn't get to that point. I just would have got sick of it and not finished it.
Fair.
Or I would have like bounced out the bits I liked and started a new tune with them.
That's like your process is super like, that's like, streamlined is the wrong word. I guess it is streamlined in a way, but like.
Economical.
Yeah, economical is a perfect word for that. Yeah.
Economical, right?
I've definitely come back to tunes like 50 times to think this is going to be the 24/7 remix. I've come back to that remix so many times. Like, this is the day I'm going to nail it. And it's just never happened. So what you're saying is I should just throw the remix.
Yeah, remixes actually spend a bit more time on.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you kind of have to.
There's one remix of yours that we play constantly. Grave.
Oh, the one.
Yeah. Every set.
Yeah.
You and Harry played on as well.
I actually had an idea for that. So it was the 20 Years of Critical album, and they're doing remixes. And Kaz was like, do you want to just have a think about what tune you'd want to do? And there's so many big tunes on Critical that I could have chose. Not that that's not a big tune.
Yeah.
But that's like my favourite ever Eni tune.
Yeah.
And I like put it in Ableton and had a bit of a play. And I was like, yeah, I've got a sick idea. So I was like, can I get the stems? Luckily, he still had them because it's quite an old tune on Eni's like old laptop. But yeah, that was another one that was kind of quick because I had the idea in my head.
Yeah.
And I already had the drums. And I was like, these drums would fit the idea I had. And yeah, so that was another quick one.
Yeah, that's... you know what, I didn't actually know the original before you remixed it.
Same.
The original's a banger.
Yeah, no, I went back and checked it. Yeah. I think that's quite a cool thing to do though, when you get to pick a remix, picking the non-obvious ones to remix and then turn it into something else. I think is like, that's like for me like the perfect way to do a remix.
Yeah,
we've had that one recently. Well, I can't really talk about it. But
and I'd normally pick
exactly what you're about to just say there. I was like, shut up, John. Shut up, John. Shut up, John.
But yeah, we've tried to do that with one recently where it's like a non-obvious one that trying to
Yeah, I would normally pick a vocal as well.
It's got no vocal.
Because it's a lot easier to remix a vocal tune.
Agreed.
Because you can just write your own tune and put the vocal on top.
Yeah, no, literally, yeah. Remixing a non-vocal tune is the hardest thing to do,
yeah.
No, smash that one. What's the weirdest thing you've ever sampled? Would be good to hear everyone's answers for this. Everyone looks at Rich
the one guy who
never
the
samples.
producer.
Okay, for you, Rich, who's the weirdest MC's vocals you've lifted?
the weirdest MC influence.
Yeah, no,
weirdest person you've just straight up ripped off.
I mean, I've definitely not ripped off anyone who I would think is doing some weird shit.
Yeah, who's the most suspect MC you've copied? Yeah, that should be the question for you.
Who's the most suspect MC I've copied? I mean, that makes me suspect.
Yeah, well, you.
Not really out here copying. It's all subconscious.
Not deliberately copying anybody.
Oh man, I'm just thinking of like the most horrendous MCs that I've definitely nothing like, and I just don't even want to mention on this podcast. So I think you should move to someone else.
Are you heavy with the sampling, Alex? Are you walking around the studio with a microphone, like recording dumb shit, or are you?
I'd never like physically sample stuff. I do a lot of digging through like old like films. Like there's this website that has like it just clips like sentences from films.
Sick.
Oh yeah, when you type it in. Yeah, what's that called again?
No, mine's a different one.
Oh, okay.
Mine's just called like, it's so vague. It's called like movie/samples.org or something. And there's just so many films. I got the No Mistakes sample from there. You can choose like the genre of film, and then it just comes out of random old films that you would never heard of.
Sick.
And then you can click on one, and then there's like literally like 200 pages where they've just clipped sentences.
That's sick. I need to try.
But then you can also search words. So say you wrote a tune that was like,
this is what I was thinking of, yeah.
About like sunshine. You could write sunshine and it would come up with like all the sentences where they've said sunshine.
Yeah, I hope the camera's on Jack's face right now. So there is a website. I think it's the same one. So there's one where you can basically type in a phrase and it searches every like TV show and film with that phrase, and you just... Josh Unglued actually did a very good, he does these little like hints and tips videos.
Yeah.
He did one about this website.
Do you know, seeing we're talking about samples, I've got a little sample story recently, like one of those ones that gives you like the goosebumps when you hear it. Have any of you seen the Dune films?
No, not
Yeah.
yet.
As in D-U-N-E.
D-U-N-E.
I've seen the first one.
Yeah. So the first one is actually where it's from.
Yeah.
And do you remember? I'm going to potentially show my age, but do you remember the Ram Trilogy song "Mind Killer"?
Yes.
Fear is the mind killer sample and that. Yeah, I know the sample. Yeah.
So you know when she's outside the room and he puts his hand into the box with the Bene Gesserit, who like tests him. I don't know if you remember that bit,
yeah.
but he has to go through the pain. He puts his hand in the box, and she's outside, and she goes, "Fear is the mind killer," like that, and I was like, like literally like blew my mind. And then obviously like I went and did a bit of digging, and there was an original Dune film, which obviously the old Facebook jungle is going to be cussing me off right now. Bring it on, Facebook jungle. I'm ready for you. But they're going to be like, oh, what, you didn't know there was an original Dune film? Which honestly I didn't. And obviously it's sampled from that, and they kept it in the recent film as his mum's outside. She says, "Fear is the mind killer," like that, and the voice is like so on point. They must have copied it from the first film because it's literally the sample for that Ram Trilogy tune, and it was like straight there. I was like, this is like me, 16 years old.
I love it when you find a sample from something.
Yeah, you're watching a film and then you're like, oh shit.
Yeah,
that's where that's from. Yeah,
I'm a Who sampled like fiend. I'm on that.
Yeah, I love that website.
I'm on that
so
website
much.
constantly. Yeah, we're on that website a few times. I'm just like, Far's more slick than that. That's actually the reverse is true. Yeah, when you end up on Who sampled because someone figured out where you sampled something from, that hurts.
It's mad though that someone's figured it out and gone right, like crack their nut. Gone on to Who sampled and like, let me register this.
Let me create an account and bait this guy out. Especially like a Galaxy in the wide spectrum of music makers is so niche. Someone's been like, I need to create a log for Galaxy sample on there. Like, fair play. I mean,
I think I'm on there like once or twice, and it's just for like the Amen break. But like, who's sitting there doing this? Like, who's like, aha, another one?
Putting them up.
To be fair, speaking of samples, so one thing that I discovered, obviously this podcast, the Amen Brother podcast, the person who created was it the Winston Brothers?
Yep.
Yeah. They've made this song available to use on YouTube, license free.
Yeah.
So we can actually that's why we can put this on YouTube.
Yeah, the Winstons, Amen Brother.
They just said
you can use it on Spotify, and you don't get charged for it, which thank God, because that would have been a real
that'd been really annoying.
Shit, we've launched our YouTube channel and now we can't monetize it.
Yeah, we didn't actually know that until
Oscar.
Yeah, Oscar shouted it, and then we checked and like, we're gonna get our video taken down, but no. So crazy move, because obviously that band would have made the most amount of money anyone's ever made from royalties ever.
I think I've done a little bit of reading on this. I think there's something to do with, because it was all over YouTube, by the time they brought in monetization, there was nothing they were going to ever be able to do to lock down the money they were actually owed. Yeah. And again, this is coming from the label side of things, because that song famously, all of the musicians got nothing, absolutely rinsed for that, and just got no royalties and no publishing, and it's a bit of a techie one. That well worth going and doing a little bit of reading, because it's pretty brutal, but necessary for people to know that this shit happens.
Well, it also spawned a whole genre, or more than one genre. So
it fueled like multiple genres through multiple decades. Like, it's almost like it needed to happen. It needed to be in the public domain, almost like
literally a 4-second clip. It's actually nuts when you think. It is
mad.
Weirdest thing you've sampled then?
We've done sander blocks. So literally, Harry had been sanding in his studio a couple of weeks before to paint it, and then, in typical Harry fashion, had not tidied away his stuff afterwards and just got straight back into the studios writing tunes. So there were 2 wooden blocks that had sanding paper duct tape around them, and they were just sat there. And one day we got the mic out, and these things were sat on the side for like 4 months, never tidied away. And just one day was going around, hitting things, tapping things, scratching things, and then picked up these 2 things and went, shh, and we were like, ooh.
It's like a shaker.
But you're just brushing them together, and just the different rhythms. And then, unlike a shaker, you can slow it down, so you can drag it slowly, and you're getting very interesting tones out of that. So played around with that a lot, and that's probably the weirdest thing. But that's just such a nerdy musician answer, and not
that's
like
so creative.
Thanks, guys.
I'm just sitting there pressing down on the trying to find the perfect Amen.
Amen 74. This one's going to be the one. Jack's there with like household appliances. To be fair, I actually made a shaker out of a mason jar that I was using for other stuff, and couscous.
Oh yeah. The dried goods inside a jar.
Dried goods inside a jar is classic. And also, I've just sampled myself like several times, because obviously like at least 50% of our tunes have like some sort of R&B vocal on it. So one day I was like, right, it's my time.
I got this. I know what I'm doing.
Oh yeah.
Turns out even with autotune, I can't sing. Even with autotune.
No, that's not true, man. Harry appears on like
but Harry's
10
like pitch
of the
perfect.
No, he's not. Not when he sings. Have you heard that boy sing?
He sings better than me.
I'm sorry, man. I'm not gonna lie, Harry. I love you, bro, but yeah, it's not good. But when
what I'm saying
when he goes
bad.
effects heavy and then sings into the microphone and then pitches it after, it's mad. He's I really rate it. Like as someone also who can't sing, he sits there and just puts a microphone on. And he's like, yeah, I know what I want. I want a nice ooh. So I'm just going to do it myself.
Yeah, so I've done that with like just a mask with loads of effects. And I've also like, similar to the kind of like homemade percussion, if you just like beatbox sometimes, like the beat you want, and then just like EQ it and stuff, and actually you can leave it in the drum. It sounds quite cool. It's like like I've been reading this Jay Dilla book, and obviously his whole thing was about like off-grid and like late and early snares and all this stuff. So like a way to do that is just to create the sound yourself, because your human natural timing is obviously going to be not perfect. So yeah, done that.
Is your singing worse than your rapping?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I beat you in a rap battle once. So
once, yeah.
Yeah, we used to live together, and lockdown was an interesting time for us. And we used to just do like 7 a.m. like bar for bar, like
no matter who was in the room
style. No matter who was in the room. Sometimes it'd just be us just rapping at each other.
It was awful.
Yeah, I think actually
on all sides.
But considering you're actually a rapper,
yeah, but like 7 a.m. Nah, to be fair, like I felt like at that point I actually sort of relaxed into it. That was probably the best freestyling I've ever done.
Yeah,
you definitely got had up. Don't even try it.
Inspired by me, so
definitely.
So there was that. But yeah, I do want to try. I don't know. Like, do you play any instruments?
No,
so
I don't.
I play guitar, and I want to just like I've never like. There's one song with a Galaxy song with me playing guitar in it in the 10 years that we've been releasing music. It was actually the one we did with Lawrence, because I had to replay a sample. That was it. So
yeah, I find a lot of it nowadays is like that, and like doing the like little ooh thing. You just don't then have to clear a sample.
Yeah,
and you don't have the same sample that 100 other people have used. So. Yeah.
Do you use? Are you a Splice user?
I've never had Splice, no.
Actually, I remember you said this. Yeah, I found that really interesting. So
yeah, in 2024 to hear that someone doesn't have Splice, that's quite unconventional.
Yeah.
But yeah, I rate that. Again, you're just not falling into the trap of finding the same good quality sounds that other people will. Like,
yeah. I still download a lot of sample packs, but
yeah.
Also, I've heard so many people just say how shit Splice is in terms of like the credits, how it works, and the subscription model. So, yeah.
As someone who works in music tech, that's interesting to hear, because that's what we're trying to push. So it's like more subscriptions. Yeah.
Oh no, it's obviously a good thing. Like it's a good business model and it makes sense. But also, it'd be daunting for me having every sample in the world like there to use, because I'd never make a decision.
You just be pressing that down arrow still.
Yeah, exactly. I use sometimes I'll be like, right, just like if I'm going through a bit of a block, I'll be like, I'll choose a pack and be like, right, in this one I'm going to use a pad, in this one I'll use the drums, in this one I'll use like a vocal sample or something, and then you got to stick to it, because then it forces you, like when you have less to work with, it forces you to be way more creative. Because otherwise you're just endlessly searching for the perfect sample, the perfect melody that you can use, so yeah.
Yeah, this was actually you should read that Jay Dilla book, man. Basically, this is the whole thing they talk about. Like, obviously, with like MPCs in the 90s or whatever, they had like 30 seconds recording time. So like, if you had a sample, you had to like just chop it in loads of different ways. Like the one sample you had to reuse in loads of different ways and stuff. And that's why some of those beats were so like out there and so interesting.
Yeah, it's like back to who sampled. It's like you'll see that they've used this like a 2-second clip from like 2/3 of the way through some obscure song, and they've just looped it, and it's like that Stardust song, Music Sounds Better With You, is like that, and it's like one of the biggest songs ever, and they've taken something from an existing song and just looped it and pitched it up by one. So yeah, back to the less is more philosophy, I guess. Not overcomplicating.
Not overcomplicating it. It comes back round. This is something I have to remind myself of a lot, because you put it really well. Like, with Splice, you literally have like access to, I think it's like 5 million sounds or something.
Yeah.
Obviously, only like 300,000 are actually good. There's like the rest is like guff. But yeah, I spend way too much time just looking for sounds instead of actually creating. It sounds like you've actually got quite a few, like, I guess they're creative strategies. Yeah, I guess they are creative strategies.
Yeah.
Is this stuff that you kind of just, I don't know, you just one day, so I'm just going to try this and see if it works?
No, it's normally like tips. Like there's a few others like I've just seen. Like one is I'll have like sessions where I don't even have Ableton open. I'll just go through like folders of samples I have or something and just like listen to things that I think are cool, and then I'll just move them onto my desktop. So then next time I open Ableton, I have these things that are just there that I like the sound of. But like there's something about not having it open in Ableton and like looking at it, and it's just the sound. Because then you have like your own sort of hand selected mini pack of like things that you thought are cool from various sources, and then I might find a like vocal sample that goes with it. Yeah, a couple of things like that. Working on 2 tunes at once was one I've started doing recently. And like you can't move on to the next 2 until you've finished one. So like you alternate between them. So like you get bored, you move to the next one, and you just keep flipping between those 2.
Yeah, so like if you're working on 2 tunes, so let's say song A, song B.
Yeah.
You finish song A, therefore you start song C, but then you're working on B and C together.
Yeah.
No, you can sack off B.
Ah, okay. So it's not like a winner stays on type thing.
No, it's just like, so you get bored of working on one tune, right? So it's good to have 2 on the go. And then you'll obviously have one you lean into a bit more. So you'll be like, right, I finished that. And then you can just sack off the other one, start another 2, and just do the same loop between them.
So one song's just like a sacrificial lamb the whole time.
Yeah, but it's better than having 100 unfinished tunes.
No,
Yeah.
To me, it sounds efficient, man.
Yeah, no.
It sounds like an
Yeah.
efficient system you've got going on. Like, and like, it's not like premeditated. You're not really like trying to be that. You're just like, I want to catch a vibe. This is what I need to do in order to catch a vibe. As long as there's a vibe, I'm happy with it. If I'm not, see you later. Onto the vibe.
Yeah. It
Which
just
is like refreshing, man.
It just stops you sitting there listening to the loop of doom. And
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. I'm genuinely going to take some of these ones on because we're in the final phases of the next EP, which is supposed to be finished end of next week. And we still don't know what the last tune's going to be on the EP. And we've got, I think in the EP folder, there's like 73, I counted it the other day, it's like 73 ideas.
That's mental.
For a 4-track EP. This is what I'm saying.
Fucking
So
hell.
like that thing you're talking about, like 2 tunes, finish 1. Like that, some stuff like that we just need to adopt, yeah.
You might as well just do another album, bro.
Nah, but the thing
Album
is, like,
2's there.
in a weird way, yeah, our process is partly that. Like, me and Tom always say, especially, I guess because we work as well full time, like, we'll have like a couple of weeks where we maybe don't produce.
Yeah.
And I feel like for me, and Tom as well, probably say the same thing, that you build up this like layer of rust of writing music, and you have to kind of write yourself into form. It's a bit like when striker.
I hear that.
Is the manager keps playing the striker who's not scoring because he knows.
Yeah.
Nico Jackson, classic. So I
He
had
is
to get,
scoring. He is scoring.
And it's a Chelsea fan, isn't it? I had to get that one in there.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So basically, if the manager keeps playing them, eventually he starts scoring goals. Yeah, they're addictive. So
I do know what you mean about momentum. Like for me, I go through periods where it's like I'm like either really, really hot or I'm not, and it's like when you're on it, it's like I just keep like fueling it, keep going, and then I like if I'm like not in a zone or not really on it, I'm just like, you know what, now's just the time to chill. Don't be like forcing myself to be like, oh, I should be writing, should be doing this. It's like, actually, I'm not in that zone right now. And most of the time I am pretty zony, I'd say, but sorry. But yeah, it's just
Pretty
like, I don't know,
zoned out, man.
It's not about like pressurizing yourself in that situation.
Yeah.
The 2 tunes at once thing is something that you maybe realise that I actually do that all the time, and I've never even really thought about it.
Yeah.
I have like a lyric idea and I'll have 2 on the go. I won't necessarily par one off. I'll always end up probably finishing both.
Yeah.
I'd say I've got a pretty good like finish rate. I'm probably because it's quite waffly. I'm just like, I need to finish this story or whatever. There's a context or something that I want to, like the message I want to get across. But I always seem to have 2 things on the go, and then I'm like bouncing, and they'll be like sort of similar in a way and like tie in, but then be like on like 2 completely different tunes, which is kind of weird.
do you like specifically make 2 tunes that are completely different, or do you? it just doesn't matter?
No, I don't even specifically go like, right, today I'm going to sit down and do my 2 tunes. It's just like, I'll always, like subconsciously have the 2 on the go.
Yeah.
Because it helps with like the mix down part as well, because if you're just listening to the same demo over and over again, you forget what it even sounds like.
You go deaf to it, don't you?
Yeah, so like when you then switch back to song A, you're like, oh shit, the drums are way too loud.
Yeah, that.
So it helps with that.
Interesting.
And yeah, like you were saying, like if I'm not feeling it, I just won't produce for like a week. Or if I'm just like feeling chill, I'll just sit there and write chords and like nice pads that I can use. So when I am feeling creative and want to write a club tune, I already have pads I can just drop in. So little like cheat things like that.
Creating your own like sample library.
Yeah, basically.
You can go back and listen to it and then like dip into.
And when you're in a super like fiddly mood, you can just sit and fiddle with drums and just do it all day. And then you have like 5 nice like drum kits you can use.
Man, you're making me realise that there's way more I can do and I'm not feeling it.
There is
Honestly,
always something the sample pack thing is a game changer. We started making a sample pack over lockdown for Patreon and one for EST, and off the back of that we realized how many of those samples that we just made available to the public we were dipping into for our writing after the fact. So we were like, do you know what we need to start doing? We need to start, when we're not feeling writing a tune, just write some new drums, write a new cool pad, cool bass sound, and then when you're in that session and you've just got the idea and you just need to get shit down quickly, you can just drag and drop for your own things that no one else has got.
That's one thing I noticed actually. Whenever we've done, I know we've actually never finished a song together, but every time we've written a tune together, it's been on Harry's setup and he's just like bam,
he's just got things that we've already made, just done, like ready to go. Like it just helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it really does. And also that's the way you build up a sound as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Writing things from scratch every single time is fun, but also.
Yeah, and if you've slaved over a break for 4 hours, like you should be allowed to use that again.
Yeah.
Like you're not cheating by like using it because you've spent ages on it. So
that was definitely a learning point for us because we used to write drums from scratch every single song. Looking back, that's mental. I would never do that now.
I always use like the same like few kicks now, like on my tunes, and like I have a layer I use on all my snares and stuff like that. So yeah, helps you build a sound as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was gonna say that's mad for me to hear. Like you're making it way like techie for yourself, isn't it? Like it's kind of beautiful in a way because it's like we've created this whole new like. But
at that point as well, like we were still like learning how to write music as well. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So taking that approach isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's probably good.
You are learning.
You're forcing yourself to try new things and experiment. It's what we were talking about earlier on about the minimalist approach. I didn't want to pipe up, but the less is more approach, that was what we were on about, weren't we?
Yeah.
When me and Harry first started producing, we used Reason, and Reason didn't support drag and drop audio, it didn't support VST plugins, and so all we had was 2 compressors, 1 reverb unit, 1 filter, like that was it. And so if we wanted to use a reverb, we only had 1 or 2 to pick from. They were quite simple and straight back, like 3 or 4 dials on each one. And so when it comes to reverb's probably a bad example, an EQ or a compressor, for example, right? We'd have 1 compressor, it would have 3 dials on it, and it's like you had to learn how to use a compressor, not that compressor, not this top tier one that does this for you. You just have to learn how a compressor works and why you'd use it. And I think when you strip back these tools to what they are and why you use them, it gets a lot easier to not feel overwhelmed by the tools you've got. If you're like, I need saturation, cool. Well, I've got these 4. This is the one that I know sounds good and I know how to use it and where everything is. Bosh, there you go. I need a compressor. Bosh, there you go. And I think, it's easy to get bogged down, but you just pick the one that I think works for you, innit? And you just roll with that. And I think with us using Reason, we were forced to just use what was in the box.
Yeah, I mean, I've literally got like, the plugin thing is crazy. I've literally got, because I get sent plugins from companies for my day job. I must have like 30 different compressors and like, on Ableton you can make like a playlist of your favorite, I'm pretty sure you can do this every door, but like a playlist of your favorite plugins. And that's like this big. Like the actual list is like this big. Yeah. It's, too many tools, man. It just doesn't always help.
Yep.
I did want to do some of the kind of standard, we've actually almost run out of time, but we've just had too much to talk about. Unfortunately, you weren't boring enough and didn't give us enough opportunity to get onto the standard questions that are like our safety net. I did want to ask one, because I feel like maybe you might have an opinion on this. Well, no, not isn't it like the question is, what is your unpopular music opinion?
Unpopular music opinion?
Yeah. You've already. Actually, I was going to say you've already said that Drake's a guilty pleasure, but he's also one of the biggest artists in the world. So
it's not really unpopular. He's like
He's got some fans.
raking in like 9 billion streams.
My opinion of him's unpopular, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, unpopular music opinions. I don't know. I have to think about that and come back to it.
Fair.
What was the other one I had to think about and come back to?
It was... I've got an iPad for a reason.
I can't even remember what the question was.
Me either.
It's okay, we can edit this.
Oh,
part out.
something unexpected that had happened with my music.
Unexpected career highlight.
No, it's done.
All right, let's switch it up then. Most random person that follows you on Instagram.
Most random person that follows me on Instagram.
Not like a random person, but like...
Yeah, the most random.
Yeah, this guy Bill.
Bill Jones, 82. He's pretty random. He's got like 80 followers. There's a girl from the Netflix show The Circle that follows me. I don't know if you've seen that show.
Yeah, it's like a game show, right?
Yeah, it's like a Netflix one.
Yeah.
I just got like a classic like message request. I don't know, it was like a video of a gig or something. I was like, shit, this person's got like hella followers.
Yeah.
Super random one. Someone from the royal family came to the Critical Printworks show. I can't remember who it was. It's like one of their like
One of the crap
nieces or
ones.
something.
Yeah, like a
but she was
dame or
there,
something.
and then she now follows Critical on Instagram and stuff. Like,
Did she have like security with her or something?
I don't really know.
That's nuts.
That train guy was there as well.
Yeah, I bumped into him at the Cause, at Boiler Room, the Cause. Yeah.
Yeah.
He just loves raves, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And trains.
Yeah, raves and trains.
You know, he used
Remember
to
the
be,
era of Aya Stark turning up to Critical?
Yeah.
because she's
She knew like Matt Foreign Concept or something. Didn't
Nah, she was going out with someone in the scene as well for a bit.
I didn't know about
She is
that.
also a drum and bass head as well, isn't she?
Well, yeah,
Wasn't it like
She was-
Tom-
yeah,
was
they-
it
And
something to do with My New Lango or something? Like
was it.
Tommy's
Is that what it is?
brother's
Something to do,
girlfriend
yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
And also, I think Cillian Murphy was at the first hospitality in the park.
No way.
What,
I
in,
mean,
Peaky
I
Blinders
don't-
stuff?
Man like Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer in that.
Obviously, this was pre-Oppenheimer vibes, like days. But I'm almost certain that
He's a very unique looking man as well, so you couldn't really miss him as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
mate, imagine the Instagram post if you got a picture of him
Yeah,
backstage.
that'd have been gas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he was in full Oppenheimer gear.
Nah, he was in his little flat
Yeah, you got his
Yeah,
Peaky
yeah,
Blinders
yeah,
black
yeah.
hat, yeah, just
Sure.
slicing man's face up with the razor blades.
That's so bad.
Sure, someone didn't just mistake Seb as for him.
He's got chiseled,
He's got the haircut,
Yeah.
and he like
and he's got the bone structure.
Yeah.
as well.
He's got that chiseled jawline. Yeah,
the
Seb
chiseled
Skank
bird.
and Bass is bowling around hospitality in the park, and
It's in a
someone's
flat
like, "It's
peak.
Cillian Murphy, mate."
Yeah, Kay would do that too.
To be fair, the height difference is too much. Yeah,
Is he short, Killian?
I think he must be compared
Yeah, I'm pretty
to Seb.
sure he's
Everyone,
tiny.
Seb makes me look small. Like he's like giant, and he's like
That whole crew make me feel tiny. If you stood next to like Seb and Dimension backstage, you're just like,
I also feel like I'm wearing way too much colour when I'm stood next to them as well.
Yeah.
to be fair.
yeah. You're not wearing all black.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, last question then. Favorite aspect of the current scene, and what's changed what's changed or happened recently that you like? Let's put a positive spin on it, because we're
Yeah.
doom and gloom.
You know what? I actually have a pretty positive view on it anyway, because like more fans is never a bad thing.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
know,
you're getting
like,
booked as well, innit? So
yeah, but at the same time, like
Don't agree about it.
a lot of people have an opinion on like this sort of sound that's big at the moment. But like it's kids that are into it. And when I first got into drum and bass, I loved Gov and I went Breaking Science, and so I was into that stuff.
Yeah.
So people's tastes mature. So like having 500,000 new fans of drum and bass it can't be a bad thing.
It's interesting with you as well, because I feel like your sound actually manages to translate quite well across like a few different styles. I actually did what I literally just remember I did want to ask you this as well. Yeah, like obviously you're on Critical, which is a pretty headsy label, but then I'm pretty sure I've seen you on like lineups with like a Mosey or someone like that, like a bit more jump uppy, and yeah, we've played shows together. So yeah, I don't know. It's like, is that something that's I guess you enjoy that, just playing all different types of crowds and nights, or
yeah, it's not something that I've like planned.
Yeah.
It's just I don't really know what I get booked. I guess
It's because you make bangers, mate. That's
Yeah.
why.
No, no.
That's why you get booked.
but you mean like in these different
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're cool shows though. Like you can't knock them. Like they're wicked shows. I've done some really good ones. Yeah. Yeah, I think the scene's in a good place, even though there's a lot of things that aren't necessarily helping our side of things.
We've sort of said, though, you know, even though we sometimes give it a bit doom and gloomy, we've always said that this amount, like what you said, this amount of people being involved in D&B at some point it's got to filter down.
Yeah.
Like I was at Innovation in the Sun 3 years in a row when I was like a kid. Do you know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah, and this is the equivalent. It's like...
it's like it all... Yeah, I mean, it'd be really interesting to see how it unfolds. So, like, you know, the positive spin is that it is exciting times, really. You've got to look at it like that.
Yeah, you got to think, like, in 5 years' time, it's going to be crazy, like...
Yeah. The one thing I will say on that, though, we had a conversation last week about this, was that whilst it's really, really good that things are thriving, the one thing that everybody's got to remember is it's nurturing and protecting the underground, specifically like the small labels, the small clubs, right? Because if in 3-4 years' time we continue seeing the sort of progression we're seeing, there won't be small clubs left. And then those underground labels won't have a home. And so it's, as much as like all the big things are great, there's still that like necessity of nurturing and just kind of putting a little protective bubble around the underground. Because it will struggle.
Yeah. This is why we bring it up all the time, because we are in the doom and gloom sphere more often. Because it's like, shit, like where is our little like protective bubble for this thing that we hold so precious? So yeah, like obviously, you know, we've been around this one so many times, haven't we?
Yeah, I was going to say, we talk about this a lot. That's not the small club's the best thing. Yeah, we know that for a fact.
Know that. No, but do you know what we also know is we know that some of these bigger promoters need to, you know, put some conservation work in. And like, you know, you've got your huge brands.
It's like football, right? Like the whole grassroots thing. Premier League clubs have to basically, the money comes down to like grassroots or whatever, and the FA put that in place, and I feel like maybe that's...
It needs to happen, man. I think some of these bigger promoters need to start investing in smaller labels, smaller brands, and like letting them do their right. They're not competing. They're not like... It's not they're not a threat, are they? But you're just helping to maintain something that needs a bit of nurturing whilst you're capitalising off of it.
Otherwise, there's so much risk, man. Yeah. There's so much risk with trying to put on a small club night and just be like... Nah, the heads will turn up because it's what everyone's after, and then it's just like, if they don't, it's just like sweet. It's not like people that are trying to work in that space have bank to just burn.
So I know we did say that, like, let's not do the doom and gloom and let's put a positive spin on it.
I've got a better question.
You're usually the happy guy as well. It's usually me, the doom and gloom. We've switched.
Sober.
We switched roles, mate.
I've actually got a better question, which also might be doom and gloom.
Right, crack on with that.
Let's end on a negative.
Where are Chelsea going to finish this season?
No comment.
Where do you think Arsenal will finish this season?
To be honest, we've already... I know we lost, but we've been in the cup final. If we beat City, we're in another cup final. Could win a cup.
Could win a cup.
To be fair,
our worst season ever could still be better than your best season ever. So,
our best season ever was an undefeated Premier League title. So
in recent time,
that was 2004.
when you were alive, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll be happy with just the FA Cup.
Just the FA Cup.
Just the FA Cup. I mean,
just that.
League is done.
Yeah.
As long as we don't get relegated.
Top half would be good.
We'll go again. Yeah, top half. But if we win a cup, we're in Europe, so...
True.
The thing is, you are looking a bit better now, annoyingly, because we've got to play you still.
Yeah, I think... I mean, we're one of those weird teams where we turn up against big teams. That's why we do so well in like the Champions League and stuff, because...
I think you'll get popped to the Emirates, though. I will say that.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm glad we got them at home.
I feel like we'll get popped to the Emirates.
Probably, but
we shouldn't be saying this on the pod.
Oh yeah, shit. It's
just like baiting ourselves out. It's probably come out after the bloody games played.
But I think we're lost. I think we're like. I think at the moment we're like a game in hand, and if we win it, we're up to 7th or something. Yeah, and then we're only 4 points behind, like 5th or something.
There's no way you're catching them up. I'll say
that's 2 wins.
You don't reckon?
That's 2 wins.
Mate,
Chelsea stink, man. I'm sorry, Chelsea stink, man.
Nah, but like
we're not that bad. We're not that bad.
Chelsea stink, man. I'm sorry. I watched bare Chelsea.
It's gonna come back to bite you though.
This season you stink. Next season you might be alright.
Bro, you're setting this up horrifically. Like we got to play them at home. We're a title charge now. Man is prang out here.
I'm confident Chelsea will stink up the rest of the season. They might beat us.
Question for you: do you think you're gonna win the league?
Nah. No,
do you actually not? Because I actually do, but I'm always gas guy, so I always
Liverpool are going to win the league. This Klopp farewell tour. There's things that manoeuvring.
No, that'll fade out.
Do you know what? It's going to be Liverpool or us.
No, but honestly, Liverpool have got like Sir Jack's can't.
Yeah, just so people were aware, like the average drum and bass producer, like clearly cares so much about football. I am such a minority in this.
Yeah.
Like,
all I'll say on this,
mad.
all I'll say on this is Liverpool have done what they've done with like 50 injuries, and now they're getting.
I know about
back.
Liverpool.
Yeah.
I know about Liverpool. Harry makes me. He's made me like an honorary Liverpool fan.
Exactly. I thought you were a West Ham fan, but anyway,
No,
yeah. So I think
you can't enjoy football if you grow up as a West Ham fan because you just end up hating watching your team lose.
I mean, that's like me at the moment.
won a cup though.
Yeah.
I just think Liverpool got the sauce, man. They got the judge. Like,
don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be City this year, but like I'm obviously going to stand here in my red and say that for some reason I don't know why.
I'm actually wearing Sky.
I think they just wore themselves
the
out after last year. I think like this season is always going to be for the taking
City
after what they did.
They're literally like impervious, man. They got 115 charges and they've not been done.
Don't get me wrong. In honesty, it's anyone. Someone's just got to like hit form. We're in form at the moment. We could dip. We've got some tough games, but
We're gonna dip.
I don't know why. There's just a vibe, but I'm a positive guy when it comes to football.
He's that football Twitter fan. You can't listen to him. You can't listen to him.
What are you on about? You don't put me in that category. Ain't that bad.
Okay, so back to music. Shameless plug was actually the last one, but I feel like we know what we're plugging. It's the Pyro album.
Yeah, the album.
It's out now.
Check it out now.
Go check it out now. This camera.
That's your one,
This is
mate.
my camera.
Now.
But now we'll wrap up by saying thank you so much for coming down. It's been a real, honestly, some of the stuff about your process was so interesting, man. Like, I was really,
thanks for having me down.
yeah, definitely going to adopt some of that. So, yeah, see you guys next time.
Safe.
Peace.
This is always really awkward because I don't know how to end an episode. It's like, cool.
Good.
Then you can do those quirky edits where you keep that bit in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, oh my God. This.
And then it bleeps out like bleep.
Yeah. That's exactly what I had in mind.